Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back. This episode we are going to begin our discussion on generic classes. And we've used generics, but now I want to talk about creating our own generic classes. This is a pretty big step and it can be really confusing at first if you've never seen generics before, so stick with it. It will make sense in the future, just trust me here. But once we get through this video, you'll have a much better understanding. Now, what even are generics? Well, when we do something like an array list and we pass in some type here, like string, we're typing this array list to only allow strings. And this is an example of a generic class. And if you hold Command or Control on Windows and open the declaration, you can see this E here. And when someone wrote this class, they put this E as a substitute for whatever type we might use. So in this situation, we're using a string, but we could just as well use a person if we're working with this person class we created earlier, or we could use a position, or we could use integer. It doesn't really matter, but once you type it to that, you have to use that type. So for example, let's create a new array list of type integer and do the import. If we try to say ages.add and pass in a string, look at this. It's going to give us an error and say something about it not being okay. And that's not okay. So we can use this for numbers. So for example, I can pass in a 5 and that's fine. So before generics, let's see what it would have looked like. Before generics, we did not use these here. And in this situation, we could add 5, but we could also add strings. And let's just say we were expecting strings. We had a list of messages, for example, and we were working with the data like it was strings. So instead of using ages here, we'll just say messages, like so. And then what we would do is we would say messages dot get, and let's say we accidentally got a piece of data that was not a string because we weren't expecting people to put integers into our data structure. In this situation, we might expect this to be a string, so we would cast it to a string. And the reason we have to do that is because when you put data in here, it's going to be put in there as an object. So if we want to be more specific, we have to say string. And what we could do is we could output this thing and just see what happens. So if we cast this to a string and run it, let's see, we got an error here, semicolon, that's usually important. Run this, you can see we get an exception, integer cannot be cast to string. So that's a problem. We get runtime errors. Generics allow us to get compile time errors with type issues, whereas without the generics, it's always a runtime issue, which means there's going to be more issues later on when we're running the code, which is not what we want. So generics definitely add value. So what I want to do now is I just want to look at how we would create a generic class. And we're going to use a really dumb contrived example. In the next video, we're going to go through a little better example, which is going to use two different types. But in this one, we're just going to stick to one. So it's going to be very similar to how an array list would work, where we just pass in one type like so. And let's just go into this and see how they did things. So the very first thing is when you do the class definition up here, you use these less than and greater than signs, and you put, it's usually an E or a T, but you put something here to represent the type, and that's going to be used throughout all of the code. So that's the first thing you need to understand. The next thing you need to understand is that E is going to be used throughout this to represent that type. So for example, when we want to add data, it's going to be of type whatever E is. So if we use string, that's going to basically be string E instead of just EE. So yeah, it's a little bit confusing here, but let's create our own example and maybe we can follow along just a little bit better. So we'll go over here and open a new class and we'll just call this item. Hit finish. And in here, we need to make this generic. So what we do is we put the less than and greater than, and then we'll just use a T. You can use an E, you can use tacos, whatever you want. It's up to you. All right, so let's just use T, and then what we need to do is use this T throughout the class instead of an exact type. So for example, if we want to create a field of whatever type that is, instead of saying something like string X, what we would actually do is we would say TX. So let's see what using this would look like. Let's go back to our code, and what we're gonna do is just gonna clean this up just a little bit, just actually all the way, there we go. And we don't even need this array list import anymore. So now what we can do is we can say item, pass in a type such as string, give it a name, and then say new item, string, and then parentheses. Now when we use item, the object, and put a dot, we can see that X field right there, and you can see it's of type string if you look closely. The reason it's of type string is because that's what we used inside of the less than and greater than. If we use something else such as person, check this out. Item.x is now a person type. So it changes depending on what type we use. And that's pretty cool, but let's talk about actually assigning data to this. If we're working with a string, all we do is say item x, assign it a value, like so. And it seems like everything's good. I'm actually gonna get rid of that error because it's driving me crazy. All right, there we go. So now I want to go through the same thing, but with a person object. Or whatever type you're using, it doesn't have to be a person, just some custom type. And the way this is gonna work is you're gonna need to create a new one, give it some values. This constructor requires 2 strings, and then we would just say P. So that is how you would use this if we were using the person type. So now we created that field, but oftentimes with fields we want to use getters and setters. So I'm going to be showing you how to do that now. The first thing is to get the data. So let's go back to the item, and whenever you create a getter, you're going to return the data, but you do not need an argument. So before we actually code it, let's see how we would invoke it. We would say item.get x, like so. Nothing is passed in, but we might assign it to some variable over here on the left. So it needs to return some data. All right, so let's go into the code. And what are we gonna return? We're gonna return whatever the type is. And we're gonna call this getX. And no arguments needed. All we have to do is say return x. Now for the setter, we don't actually need to return anything, but we do pass data in. So what's that gonna look like? We're gonna say void set x, and we're going to take some data as input and assign it to the field. So we're taking whatever the argument passed in is, and we're assigning it to the field called x. Last thing is we can make this private. Actually, we want to put that on the left of the type. There we go. And now let's work with this. You can see we no longer can access x directly. We actually have to say set x and pass in p as an argument. That seems to work. And then if we want to get this person back, we would just say person, give it a name, and then say item.getX, like so. So that is the basics of creating a generic class. And at this point, it's really not adding anything valuable to our code, so you're probably not going to need to create this item class and work with it. However, as you go on, maybe you'll find a use case where you need to constrict types to just whatever is passed in right here. And in that situation, it's really good to have that extra generic knowledge. It also helps you understand how the generic classes that are out there work. We can understand them better and reduce bugs and so forth. So it's highly recommended you understand everything in this video. And if it's brand new, you might need to watch it a second time and make sure you're coding out the code yourself to get some hands-on experience. So the next video, we're gonna work with some more generic stuff. We're actually gonna use 2 types, so it should be pretty fun, and I'll see you in the next episode.